Jussie Smollet indicted, now facing 16 felony counts, tied to what prosecutors say was a made-up hate crime attack. The stiff sentence he could face if convicted. Also breaking tonight, the new major storm set to strike. Alerts stretching for 17 states into the east. The avalanche risk turning deadly, and the tornado threat now in the south. President Trump visiting that other tornado disaster zone, but not before slamming Michael Cohen, accusing his former fixer of asking for a pardon, and what the president said about former campaign chairman Paul Manafort now heading to prison. A new R.Kelly accuser speaking out, alleging the R&B star sexually abused her when she was just 13 years old, as Kelly remains behind bars. Why he can't get out. Plus, the U.S. dad who says ISIS has his children, our reporter with him in the region as he attempts to find them. And the space race is on. NASA and SpaceX teaming up, sending a capsule to the International Space Station, the Victoria splashdown, and the big question tonight, are American astronauts on their way?
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
And good evening. It's great to have you with us on a very busy Friday night. I'm Tom Yamas, in for David. And we begin tonight with that breaking news out of Chicago. New charges for Empire actor Jussie Smollett. A federal grand jury indicting him on 16 felony counts for allegedly staging that hate crime attack. Smollett is already charged with one felony count for that alleged attack, initially blaming it on the two men seen right here in this surveillance image. Police say Smollett paid them to help carry it out. And tonight, Smollett is free on a $100,000 bond, but his future now potentially in even greater jeopardy. ABC's Steve Osensami starts us off.
The actor and singer who police say made up a racist and homophobic attack and then lied to America is now facing 16 new felony charges tonight for lies police say he told during two separate interviews with Chicago investigators.
I'm left hanging my head and asking why. Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations?
Each new charge is for each alleged lie when he told police how he was attacked on his way home from a sandwich shop to his Chicago apartment in the early morning of January 29th. He told them he was beat up by two men with covered faces who poured a chemical on him and were yelling out racial and homophobic slurs.
He's supposed to be well-known requesting a report, and so the noose was placed over the friend's neck.
In the second interview, police confirmed that this is when the actor said that his attackers screamed MAGA country, an allegation that has turned this whole incident into a political controversy.
He said, "This MAGA country punches me right in the face." So I punched it back.
Police say he paid these two men to stage the attack. In this Instagram post from director Lee Daniels, who created the series that made the actor famous, you see a wound underneath the actor's eye, which police say was likely self-inflicted.
All right, Steve Osensami joins us now live. And Steve, these are felony charges. If convicted, what type of prison time could Smollett be facing?
Well, Tom, we're learning that he could get up to 3 years in prison if he's convicted. He has not yet entered a plea on the current charges. He is pleading not guilty on the original charge. Tom?
Steve Osensami with that new indictment tonight. All right, Steve, thank you. Next to the brutal new storm taking aim tonight, threatening blizzard conditions and possible tornadoes, it could be a travel nightmare. Heavy snow and trouble on the roads in Washington state already. A school bus, look at this, sliding sideways down this icy street near Seattle. The storm barreling out of the west, striking the Midwest tonight, then a new tornado threat for parts of the south before the storm strikes in the northeast. Here's ABC's Clayton Sandell.
A powerful western storm tonight is on the move. South of Bellevue, Washington, slick roads Thursday, sending a school bus full of kids sliding. No one was hurt. In Colorado, the Rockies are bracing for even more snow with new avalanche warnings. You can see where slides have broken free along Interstate 70. This is the view above an avalanche that buried multiple vehicles Thursday. Everyone escaped, but officials say this is the worst avalanche season in 50 years.
These slide paths don't have a history of hitting the highway.
Broken and buried trees mark the spot near Jones Pass, Colorado, where a backcountry skier was buried yesterday, the 20th death this season. Teams are out triggering avalanches like this on purpose before they become threats. This spot near Berthoud Pass hasn't seen a slide this big since Eisenhower was president. Those intentional slides sometimes triggered with explosives. We watched ski patrollers at Copper Mountain Resort working to make the slope safe.
How much snow does it take to immobilize you?
Nothing. 2 or 3 inches could be enough.
As the storm advances this weekend, severe weather could spin up in the south, bringing high winds and possible tornadoes. After more than 36 twisters last weekend struck 4 states.
Here in Colorado, we're expecting another round of heavy snow tonight. That, of course, increases that avalanche risk as this storm pushes east. Tom?
Clayton Sandell monitoring those avalanche threats out there. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano tracking all the other weather. And Rob, what's coming up next?
Well, not only snow, but wind coming with that system. Very powerful. It's all coming east. Let's show it to you on the radar. It's going to emerge in the plains tomorrow, and that will bring heavy snow to the northern plains, 6 to 10 inches west of Minneapolis. And this round of strong thunderstorms, as Clayton mentioned, severe weather expected Little Rock to Memphis beginning tomorrow afternoon, potentially lasting overnight into Sunday. And heavy rain Chicago, Detroit, into New York. And starting as snow in New England, turning over to rain, but another 1 to 4 inches expected in the northeast. Tom?
And Rob, I know you'll be tracking the weather through the weekend. Thank you. And with that new tornado threat looming, President Trump and the First Lady visited Lee County, Alabama today, seeing firsthand the damage from that EF4 tornado that killed 23 people this week at Providence Baptist Church, the president signing Bibles. And outside, stopping by a memorial with 23 white crosses. But on the way to Alabama, President Trump weighed in on his former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, and on Michael Cohen's claim about a pardon. Here's ABC's senior national correspondent, Terry Moran.
President Trump today ripped into his former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen for declaring under oath that he never sought a pardon.
Michael Cohen lied about the pardon. That was a stone-cold lie, and he's lied about a lot of things.
Before Congress, Cohen was clear.
I have never asked for, nor would I accept, a pardon from President Trump.
But later, his team acknowledged Cohen had, in fact, asked his lawyer to reach out to the president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, to discuss the possibility.
He knew all about pardons. His lawyers said that they went to my lawyers and asked for pardons.
And then on Twitter, Trump went further. He directly asked me for a pardon. I said no. He lied again. At stake in this unseemly feud is Michael Cohen's credibility, already shaky. And he fired back at the president, tweeting, "Just another set of lies." Today, ABC's Kira Phillips asked Trump if he'll pardon another former associate who's facing prison, his former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort.
Are you ruling out a pardon for Manafort?
I don't even discuss it. The only one discussing it is you. I haven't discussed it.
Manafort faced the prospect of decades in prison. Federal guidelines called for a sentence of 20 to 24 years for his crimes, but Judge T.S. Ellis gave him just 47 months, less than 4 years. A stunning act of leniency based, the judge said, on what he called Paul Manafort's otherwise blameless life. Democrats were outraged, but not President Trump.
I feel very badly for Paul Manafort. I think it's been a very, very tough time for him.
And Terry Moran joins us now live from the White House. And Terry, word tonight of yet another senior staffer leaving the West Wing. Communications Director Bill Shine abruptly resigning today. And by our count, it's his 5th communications director to leave.
That's right. A lot of turnover in this Trump White House. Bill Shine, the former co-president of Fox News, who built the coverage that Donald Trump loves so much. But we are told that the president didn't like the kind of news coverage he's getting these days. And so Shine is out. We hear he may be heading to the president's re-election campaign. Tom?
Terry Moran with that staff shakeup tonight. All right, Terry, thank you. Also tonight, former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning sent to jail after refusing to testify before a grand jury investigating WikiLeaks. Manning says she objected to the grand jury's secrecy and that she already revealed everything she knows at her court-martial hearing in 2013. Manning served 7 years in prison for leaking a massive trove of classified documents to WikiLeaks. Next tonight, a new accuser speaking out against singer R.Kelly. The woman claiming she was just 13 years old when Kelly sexually abused her years ago. It comes as Kelly remains behind bars trying to come up with child custody money he owes. Here's ABC's Whit Johnson.
Tonight, the investigation and outrage both growing in the wake of that explosive CBS interview with R.Kelly.
I have been assassinated. I have been buried alive.
The singer denying all allegations of abuse and sex with underage girls.
Have you ever had sex
No.
with anyone under the age of 17?
No.
Never?
No.
One of his latest accusers, now an adult, speaking out, saying she's ready to testify against him. He needs to stop playing the victim. He was the adult and I was the child. He had no right to take advantage of me when I was only a 13-year-old child. But Kelly's fiercest defenders, the two young women who live with him.
And we're in a relationship with him.
21-year-old R.Kelly and 23-year-old Joycelyn Savage instead lashing out at their own parents.
Both our parents are basically out here to trying to get money and scam.
Both families now responding.
That's not my daughter. The woman she had become now is like robotic.
Insisting they were never out for money.
Let me make sure I'm clear. I've never received any funds from R.Kelly.
Have you asked for funds?
I've never asked for any monies from R.Kelly.
Tonight, R.Kelly remains behind bars, unable to pay $161,000 in back child support. Tom?
Whit Johnson for us tonight. Whit, thank you. And this just in, we're monitoring breaking news now out of the Pacific Northwest. A truck crashing the gate at the Kitsap nuclear submarine missile base. The driver then slamming into a pole, coming to a stop on the side of the road. These pictures just coming in, then facing off against security officers there. The driver then emerging from the truck, a small child. You see all this playing out right here behind them. The driver was taken into custody. We will stay on top of this throughout the broadcast. And we head overseas now to Syria, where hundreds of ISIS militants and thousands of their wives and children are now fleeing the last ISIS stronghold and crowding into refugee camps. It comes as one American father traveled to the region looking for his children, who he says were abducted by his wife and taken to Syria 4 years ago. Here's ABC's James Longman.
Victory was meant to be swift. Yet US-backed forces today finding foxholes, weapons, and even a bomb left behind near ISIS' last stronghold in Baghouz. ISIS fighters, some of them injured, have been streaming out of that Syrian town, surrendering. And the wives and children of the so-called caliphate who believed in its fantasy now face the grim reality of its demise. Living in makeshift camps like this one, at breaking point, another 12,000 arriving in just the last 2 days. We met one American father who traveled to the region desperate to find two faces among the crowd. Bashar al-Shikhtar says his wife abducted their children, Yusuf and Zahra, from their South Florida home 4 years ago to join ISIS.
I asked her how you came to these kind of decisions to take my lovely Yusuf and my Zahra away from me. When I asked her to come back, she said that I cannot come because our passports, my passport, my baby's passport are taken already.
His wife, now believed to be dead.
US commanders are warning the seeds of future extremism may be sprouting in those camps, and that father hoping he just finds his children and takes them out of this mess. Tom?
James Longman from Erbil, Iraq tonight for us. James, thank you. Next, a milestone in space travel tonight after SpaceX's Dragon capsule successfully returns to Earth. The private spacecraft splashing down in the Atlantic Ocean after a round-trip visit to the International Space Station. And the Dragon could do it again as soon as this summer, but next time with a human on board. Here's ABC's David Curley.
A breakthrough in human spaceflight for America starting
for healthy parachutes deployed
with the successful end of this SpaceX mission, an Atlantic splashdown.
Dragon has returned to planet Earth.
A test to prove that this Dragon capsule, with a mannequin named Ripley filled with sensors, is safe to carry Americans to space from American soil for the first time in 8 years. The private space company passing 3 major tests, lifting off with the capsule, docking and undocking with the International Space Station, and surviving the fiery re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. I talked with the astronauts on the space station before the capsule left.
This is the dawn of a new era in spaceflight.
I had these moments of, wow, aha. Kind of looks a bit like a business class spacecraft.
SpaceX has another test and hopes to carry humans by this summer. Boeing also wants NASA as a paying customer and hopes to test its capsule next month. Tom?
David, thank you. And news on the economy tonight, a disappointing jobs report. U.S. employers added just 20,000 jobs in February, possibly the effects of a harsh winter and the partial government shutdown as well. But the unemployment rate fell back to 3.8%. The U.S. women's national soccer team filing a gender discrimination lawsuit over unequal pay. The class action suit filed on International Women's Day, alleging the U.S. Soccer Federation has not compensated female players the same as men despite the same job responsibilities. The U.S. Soccer Federation has yet to comment. And there's back, it is hard to stop Steph Curry, but one little girl did it with a letter. It's America Strong. Finally tonight, on this International Women's Day, America Strong. The little girl and the big star, what he did to make her dream come true.
9-year-old Riley Morrison loves playing basketball, and she loves watching Golden State Warrior Steph Curry.
He's a really good ball handler, and I hope to be as good as him when I'm older.
So naturally, she wanted the same shoes Curry wears on the court.
The ultimate upgrade.
But when she went to the Under Armour website and looked for the sneakers, the Curry 5s, only boy sizes came up. Riley telling ESPN,
They weren't on the girls, and that made me disappointed. Boys aren't any better than girls. There's no difference.
She looked at me, she goes, Dad, that's not fair. I said, hey, why don't you write a letter to him?
And that's exactly what Riley did.
Dear Stephen Curry, I'm 9 years old from Napa, California. I'm a big fan of yours.
Well, that letter reached Curry, who usually makes amazing plays on the court. This time, he did it on social media.
Opened my phone, and I'm reading this letter and realized this is a letter from Stephen Curry to my daughter about shoes.
He said he was sorry that they had listed the shoes as boys and that he was fixing the problem and that he would send me a pair of Curry 5s. I was shocked. I didn't know what to say.
She just kept saying, he wrote back, Dad, he wrote back.
Are these over mine? Please?
Yeah.
I think she got 6 large boxes of gear from him and multiple pairs of shoes.
This is amazing.
And just last night, Riley got to meet her idol. Riley has now even collaborated with Curry on another sneaker. Her design's right there on the sock liner.
2 basketball players and encouraging words around it. Be fearless, courageous, girls hoop too.
Riley Morrison, by taking charge of her own future, teaching a new generation of girls this lesson.
By